It's not the Indian government or the MEA or even Prime Minister Modi. It is Norway's own Prime Minister who has lashed the journalist from the quote-unquote freest press of the world on how she went about heckling a visiting head of government and his diplomat. First, watch what went down.
Why? Why should we call them a democracy when they don't have a free press and Modi hasn't held a press conference in his own country for 12 years? Isn't the free press part of a democracy anymore?
I would most certainly say that is the case. The Indian press has certain unique aspects with 1.5 billion people and many cultures and faiths which differ from our own. Yet they hold regular state and national elections, so I truly believe India is a democracy. And it is also a democracy with its history and experience, which are different from the Nordic ones.
He didn't take any questions here. He had no plans for that. We just had to do everything his way, plain and simple.
Yes, but well, we have to respect that he has chosen not to speak at open press conferences. That is natural for us, but I am not going to say that he isn't a democracy because he chooses to do that. He has plenty of meetings with his press.
Norwegian journalist Helle Lyng asked her Prime Minister why he refers to India as a democracy when PM Modi does not hold open press conferences in the Western format. And the Norwegian Prime Minister did not hesitate. He defended India. He said India has 1.5 billion people and many cultures and faiths and continues to hold regular democratic elections. He acknowledged that India's press culture differs from Nordic countries, but firmly added, "I truly believe India is a democracy." That answer matters, because it cuts directly through a growing Western habit of reducing democracy to a single media template. Let's look into how all this went down. The controversy erupted after Norwegian journalist Helle Lyng questioned PM Modi as he was leaving the hall with the Norway PM after a press briefing. It is unclear if Prime Minister Modi heard her question, but he left the room. The moment was enough to spark a debate on press freedom. Lyng shared a video of the moment on X stating, "Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi would not take my questions. I was not expecting him to." She also referred to India's ranking on the World Press Freedom Index, saying Norway has number 1 spot, India is at 157th, competing with Palestine, Emirates and Cuba. The Indian embassy in Norway struck back immediately with a tweet inviting her to the media briefing by MEA on the day. What followed was nothing short of drama. A fiery exchange followed between the journalist in question and the MEA Secretary West, Sibi. By now, most of you would have seen the clips of how Sibi schooled the Norwegian journalist on India's constitution, on Indian democracy and human rights. Critics are questioning the manner in which Helle Lyng conducted herself during the briefing. She repeatedly interrupted the MEA secretary while he was responding, cut across answers, interjected mid-sentence, and continued to press over him even as other journalists waited. Take a look at this.
Why should we trust you? Can you promise that you will try to stop the human rights violations that goes on in your country? And also, will the Prime Minister start taking critical questions from the Indian press at some point in the future? And also, if possible, I would like you to answer straight away.
Okay.
Right now.
Like now. Please. We have a question there.
But I might also have follow-up questions, so it would be better if you answer right away and then I can follow up.
I'm conducting the press conference. So please, do you have a question to us?
Why should we trust you? Oh, that's okay. And on the human rights situation.
If you want more background, this is...
You ask me question, let me answer it. India had epics and books Let me answer the
If you
question.
don't answer the question,
Please
you're
don't
talking about
interrupt
human
me.
rights.
Please don't
This is a
interrupt me.
human rights
You ask me a question.
No, you don't
Please.
answer the question.
This is my press conference. You ask why should a
Yes, but
country
you
trust
invited me
India?
here. You invited me here to
a
ask you
country
questions based
trust
on the
India?
human rights
Why
situation.
should a country trust India?
Then you
Let
talk
me
about yoga.
answer that question, please. So India is a civilizational country which has something unique which it offered to the world, and it continues to offer to the world.
Again, I'm gonna ask you.
Let me finish my question. Let me finish my
Amnesty
answer to the question.
in 2025,
You ask me
the
a question.
human rights
You
situation
ask me a
starkly
question.
deteriorated.
You ask me a
As
question. Let
authorities
me
continue their
answer.
assault
You
on
ask me a
human
question. Let me answer.
He
Okay.
talks about yoga and
Let
COVID.
me-
I'm talking about human
I will
rights.
come to that. I will come to it. Please have patience. Please
now.
please
You're
have
wasting
patience.
our
No,
time.
when to answer, where to answer, how to answer. These are my prerogatives.
Yes, but-
You ask the question.
But you're-
Don't answer. Don't ask
You're
me
not
to
answering
answer
the
in a
question.
particular way. Let me answer.
Okay.
I will
Go
answer.
ahead.
Your first question was on trust on India. First time in the history of AI summit, we had a summit where large number of 20 world leaders came and participated in it. Last time when we had the democracy, we had the elections in India, the participation was almost 1 billion people.
So you saw at one point, this journalist even walked out of the briefing, ostensibly to get water, even while the MEA secretary was responding to her questions. When trolled on social media over the walkout mid-conference, Lyng denied it, pointedly saying that she just went out for a glass of water. But it appears she was less interested in hearing the answer and more focused on creating a confrontational on-camera moment. On social media, Lyng came under a torrent of online abuse, with some calling her a foreign plant, even a spy. Some even referred to her as a Chinese proxy, talking about her past articles praising Beijing and Xi Jinping. Several also pointed out that it was a joint briefing by Prime Minister Modi and the Norwegian PM and not a press conference, so why the questions? The trolling got so severe that Lyng eventually had to clarify on X. She said, "I never thought I would have to write this, but I'm not a foreign spy of any sort or sent out by any foreign government. My work is journalism," she said, and left it at that. The story then took on even more political turn. After the incident went viral, Lyng publicly reached out to leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi on X, asking if he was available for a phone interview about Modi's Norway visit. That immediately intensified India's domestic political reactions online. Within hours, Lyng's social media history and digital footprint became the subject of intense scrutiny by pro-government users across Indian platforms. Nevertheless, much of the spotlight quickly shifted to the journalist herself, Helle Lyng. So who is she? According to her public media profile, Lyng has worked as a freelance journalist for several Norwegian publications as well as MSN. She is currently associated with the newspaper Dagsavisen. But perhaps the bigger debate here is not really about one journalist at all. What drew even sharper scrutiny was Lyng's activity on X. Before posting the now viral clip involving PM Modi, her previous activity on the platform dated back to April 2024, when she had shared a story on cocaine addiction among young people. Before that, her posting history appeared sparse, with older activity stretching back to 2022 and 2021. One of those older posts included a retweet showing Prime Minister Modi alongside world leaders during the G20 summit in Rome. Now that timeline immediately triggered speculation online. Several users began alleging that Lyng may have been planted to deliberately provoke or embarrass India on the global stage. The speculation intensified further after users noticed that her X account had reportedly been verified just days before Prime Minister's visit to Norway. Now, there is no evidence publicly available to support those claims, and Lyng herself pushed back strongly against such insinuations. She said she's far more active on platforms like TikTok and Instagram and suggested that her limited X activity was being misrepresented online. But step back from the noise and one thing becomes very clear. This incident was never just about one question shouted at Narendra Modi. It exposed a much bigger global argument. Who defines democracy? Who sets the acceptable model? And can large non-Western democracies reject Western political expectations without being labelled as less democratic? Norway's Prime Minister gave his answer very clearly. India may function differently from Nordic countries. Its media culture may be different. Its political scale may be incomparable, but it remains a democracy. And that statement, coming from a European Prime Minister standing beside Narendra Modi, may have carried far more weight than the viral heckling itself. This is Times Access, where global stories meet India's perspective. Click on the bell icon to subscribe, because the next big global shift will have India at its center.